But our guest today is from a very different background, but equally passionate about branding. His name is Kamal Ibrahim.
Kamal Ibrahim was born in Ethiopia. Like many young migrants, he arrived with little support and plenty of uncertainty.
Always struggled connecting with my community. Didn't see kids who looked like me. That all changed one day when I joined the soccer club.
One thing was clear, was his love for football. He went on to represent Australia and played professionally across Europe and Asia. In 2017, Kamal founded One Ball, a charity dedicated to giving young people from all walks of life the same opportunities that football once gave him.
One Ball is much greater than the game. One Ball is about life aspiration. One Ball is about coming together, community, individual. It's individual pursuit. It's aspiration.
Can you tell us about that brand and why?
What I call a wombo? Well, a few things. One is
We sit down with Kamal to explore the influence of branding on community initiatives and charities, particularly its role in shaping the impact of One Ball. There's nobody better to tell the story of Kamal than Kamal.
Yeah, sure.
So
Thank
over
you.
to you and
Thank
welcome
you.
to Brandr.
Yeah, thank you, Roy and Richard, for having me here. Really excited to be here and talk about Wombo and my journey. So I was born in Ethiopia from Eritrean parents. Came in Melbourne in 2003. As many Africans, obviously a massive change from Africa to Melbourne. For me, I moved straight into Port Melbourne, which was very, not multicultural, I would say. Probably us and maybe another African family. So always struggled connecting with my community. Didn't see kids who looked like me playing soccer outside, or if I go to school, there wasn't many Africans. So it was a couple of year of me trying to fit in as hard as I can with my community. That all changed one day when I joined the soccer club, and that soccer club became my home, something that I look forward to. I didn't have to speak English because football is a language that everyone can speak. So that led me into things that I couldn't have imagined. Football took me to around the world, playing for Australia, traveling into so many countries for free, right?
So how old were you when you joined that club in
I was
Melbourne?
12 years old.
12?
Yeah,
my God.
yeah, 12 years old. So still didn't speak English very well.
Wow.
And yeah, still, obviously my father wasn't here. Long story, but my father, through the war, he was taken with my older brothers. So when I came here with my mother and brothers and two sisters, there wasn't a father figure in my life or someone who can drive me to training or stand there and fight for me. So I was really fortunate. The coach at the time, he took me in and he became my second father. And fought for me to every training session, every state trials. And long story short, I had a really great, I would say, successful career. And that led me to create Wombo, where now it's about me giving back and not just the football side of things, but the life skill I learned through my career.
So the career was actually professional. You were a professional soccer player.
Yeah, I was. It was cut short for many reasons, whether that was injuries and mistreated by people that I trusted. If football is very, it could be very negative. So when I first started playing professional, I thought I was gonna be playing professional for my rest of my life.
Yes.
I believed in myself, but there was a lot of things that happened where I had to come back down a league down and play there and prove myself.
Yep.
And even after that, I still hadn't had the chance to go back to play professional football. That frustration kind of started for me to what else can I do with my life, because football is not everything, and my way of giving back and feeling that joy was to establish a non-for-profit to give back to other kids and teach them football skills, but life skills as well.
So at the time you set up One Ball, what was your age then? So you were 12 when you played your first game of soccer.
Yeah.
How old were you when you had the One Ball idea?
So One Ball started 7 years ago. I believe I would have been, I'm just guessing, yeah, maybe 26, something like
26,
that. Yeah. So, at that moment, I was really feeling down because I worked so hard and I wasn't getting an opportunity to get back into professional football. I was still playing semi-professional. And, when I realized maybe there's a different path for me, then I started looking at what else I can do. And the One Ball idea popped in my head. And I said, okay, I'll give this a go. And I loved it since then.
I've got to cut in here, Kamal,
Yeah.
because we were talking about this. You're a great believer in visualization. The idea didn't pop into your head.
Yeah.
You have been thinking about it, and you've been manifesting it. And I'm a great believer in brand and in creativity, that the idea finds you. Okay, you allow yourself to be open to it, and then it arrives. And in the creative process, that's my personal journey, my experience. So that idea, it's so casual and so humbling that you said that, but in actual reality, you're working on that idea.
Yeah.
And then it arrived. And I think actually the idea and the brand name One Ball, and you'll explain a bit more about that, is just so incredibly right for your journey, but also for the brand journey that you're going forward with, that everyone can identify stories with that from their own perspective. One Ball is a singular statement, and there's only one ball.
Yeah.
And you've got a story about that as well.
For me, anybody can create a brand. As you mentioned, anybody can be successful if they believe in their vision, whatever they're good at. The most important thing that for me is that, if they believe in something and they so desperately want to be successful, they can be successful. And, having the right people, of course, will help that. But what I found from whether it's families or friends who create a business is they're not creating a business because they believe in that business. They're creating a business because everyone else is doing it. But I've turned that energy to something else, whether that's my football, doing things on the soccer pitch where people say, wow, okay, we can't bully him anymore. He's too good, for example. So,
well, you let your talent and your ambition tell your story, and you walked not only your talk, but you also walked your passion and your inner feeling. I think that idea of genuine values, which you stand behind because you are there, you're accessible, is very, very important with brand. And people understand that. They know where there's a truth, and a truth then engenders trust, etc. So, and then I think your example of a brand with your One Ball, now your business, your story gives you the credibility, but it's not the story that you spend your life reflecting on. Your story is the future story. And I know you're sharing with us some quite poignant moments. I can see your mind thinking of what it was like, but you don't trade off that.
Yeah.
You're trading on that you've achieved to this point, and then it's going forward. And I think that's the exciting thing about brand. It's really how do you project into the future, and how do you draw? We call about the push-pull. Rather than pushing, you pull because you attract.
So why did you call it One Ball?
What I call a One Ball? Well, a few things. One is growing up in Ethiopia, playing in my neighborhood, we only had one soccer ball. We weren't spoiled like in Australia where you have plenty of soccer balls. So that soccer ball meant everything to us, sometimes even more than food, more than TV, more than PlayStation. Well, we didn't have PlayStation, but if we did, we'll be outside playing. So that passion we had for that soccer ball, even when I think about it now, it's crazy. Like we wake up, think about football, sleep, think about football, and we know if I don't have a soccer ball, we know exactly in that village or in that neighborhood who has one soccer ball. We wake up, we go early to the house and wait outside until he wakes up, right?
Oh, great set.
Because there's no other soccer ball, it's just that one. So, and then to see the power of one ball bringing nations together, whether it's a World Cup or other tournament. It's just unbelievable.
Even the symbol of the ball, looking at it here, it's made up of so many different pieces to make the ball.
Absolutely.
So you've got to have all those parts in place, because it's not just one piece of skin, it's actually all this, and I'm looking at it right now, that whole, there's so much analogy and metaphor that you can come out of that one with the name One Ball.
Yeah.
It's such a brilliant, just catches your mind, and it's also only a short number of letters. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So can we
And I promised I didn't use ChatGPT, by the way. But this was before
didn't exist at the
ChatGPT.
time, yeah.
It didn't exist, yeah.
So I'm really interested also to, let's fast forward now. So you're now in Melbourne, you've got a successful professional career, you've made the transition, and you're starting to understand the power of brand. And when we had a chat the other day, it was really interesting that because I posed the question, is a brand a logo? And you said, nah. Tell us the story about evolving the One Ball brand. You thought, I need a logo.
Yeah.
Tell us the story about how that creation of a logo and a brand identity worked, because it wasn't the best starting point, was it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So once I thought of the name, obviously the next step is to do the logo, and I've been lucky in my life meeting the right people. I always try to surround myself with people who can add value to me, and because I'm playing football, you meet a lot of people. So obviously Darren, who you know very well, at that time he was a committee of a football club. I told him about the idea, and he was he wanted to create the logo for us, and they did the first logo for us, so we went with that. I was quite happy with it, and then afterwards I just had this feeling that it doesn't represent what we're trying to do at One Ball. I'm looking at the next 10, 15 years, 20 years, how does this brand or this logo represent the whole community? It's not just about kids, it's about teenagers, it's about adults. So we had to change the logo a couple of times until I'm happy with it. Yep. But now again, this is the third time we changed the logo. Yep. But I can say I'm definitely very happy with that. And I had help with other people who really specialized in understanding what the logo feels like. Because for me, I wanted the logo to be like, it needs to be like the brand, But talking to Darren and Tang, and they explained to me about the logo is not the organization, So and then I wanted the logo to feel like kids can be proud of it, just like they wear Adidas or Nike, and they feel that empowerment. So I wanted to create the logo, but it represents also the organization, and that stands out, and kids can feel like when they're wearing One Ball jersey, they feel very confident and feel like they're part of something big.
So it's almost become a badge.
Yeah, like a badge.
Way,
yeah.
We always think about that, Kamal, in terms of anything identity of what you created. A brand mark actually can also sit with the top brand marks, like an Adidas, like a Nike.
That's what I always used to say.
Or with some of the other great brands, even a Mercedes-Benz, etc., where there's a relationship between the two, that you have the same attitude, you have the same attention to quality. And I'm a great believer in a nation building in Australia for brands, and you've got a brand that could travel the world. It's universal, it's top quality, it could have come from anywhere. It happens to be designed and created and manifested by you in Australia, which I think is something to be very proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned through that process, talking to Red Design Group and Tang and Darren. A lot of friends of mine or other people, when they want to create a business or the logo, they want the logo to be the business. Do you know what I mean? Like if it's a soccer club or football program, it needs to have a kid kicking a ball and all this crazy logo. But I learned through that process where Nike is just a thick, but they represent so many things. They don't have anything else there. It's not basketball or soccer, so I want One Ball to be just more than
One Ball is much greater than the game.
Yeah.
One Ball is about life aspiration. One Ball is about coming together, community, individual. It's individual pursuit. It's aspiration. but it's much, as you say, it's much bigger than the game,
Yeah.
which I think is just the most remarkable thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you could have easily created a one soccer ball, and that could have been the logo, one ball with the soccer ball. But it's more than that, you know. That limits our ability to do other things, because one ball can represent basketball, can represent other sports, it can represent many other things that we have planned to do. So it's very important. And like I say, I'm very lucky that I had right people who understand branding to be able to come up with the vision I had for the logo and for the brand.
So I think there are, you know, reflecting back on what we talked about, there's sort of three major things here. There's the act of brand as being a game changer. So soccer as an overarching brand sort of essentially changed your life. Now it's a brand changer in terms of other people's lives. So that's the first thing. The second thing, it's way beyond the scoreboard. I mean, there's social benefits, there's community benefits, there's national benefits, there's also commercial benefits that way off the ground, as you've also experienced. And then finally, there's this human story. I mean, you must have some great stories, not only your own story, which you've shared with us today and the audience, but also stories of kids that are having so much more positive vibe that they need in their lives through someone like you who's they could look to and understand your story.
Yeah.
But as you said, your game is sort of like colourblind. It's got there's no preference or anything. It's an individual thing. As you said, no religion, no creed, no nationality. But the bigger picture is what one ball can be a door opener through the brand that they want to wear and be proud of to change their lives and influence their lives. I think that's where for me, from a point of view of a brand guy, that is the ultimate authenticity.
Yeah.
I just wanted to reflect also a little bit on in the sporting industry, there are countless examples of very, very financially successful brands.
Yeah.
Richard, you were just sharing. What's
I've got the
the
notes
most
here. I've got the notes
valuable
here.
sports brand in the world?
Well, the most valuable sports brand, believe it or not, is the Dallas Cowboys.
Really?
Yeah,
Valued at
I think what have we got here? $12 billion.
$12 billion
Okay.
for a logo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, which is basically the star, and then Real Madrid as in your
Real
sport.
Madrid, yes.
Okay, so $6.7 billion.
Sure.
So there's a big gap.
Yeah.
And then I think the Olympics is something like about an $8 billion brand. So the individual sporting codes have got massive value and built over time. I think the Cowboys were their brand was done in 1964, and they haven't changed it ever since. I could not see you changing that brand.
Yeah.
Even if you move on, that brand is a fixture.
Yeah, 100%.
And the value that's going to be attached to it, and what the value does when it's applied, that stands for all the values and commitment values that you have, not value financial, personal values, and what you represent as a doorway into a whole different future. That's the value of that mark on the breast of the player or the fan, or the kids just hanging out.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm guessing here that the value that you put on one ball is not measured by US dollars.
No,
what's
Australian
your-
dollars.
What's your measure of success for one ball?
Measure of success. I get asked a lot of this when we obviously apply for grants or sit in front of sponsors. Everyone has different measure of success, but I think for one ball, for us, it's seeing communities coming together, which we see every single day. Seeing kids grow with us from 5 years old to 14 years old. Seeing kids have this confidence and build this feeling a sense of belonging, because we get a lot of feedback from parents and also from kids in terms of if they feel more included in our program, and some of the surveys we get for the parents, it's unbelievable, and that's what makes me excited to keep going. And even though there's a lot of challenges, of course, when we run a not-for-profit in terms of sponsorship and grants, but seeing the impact we're making with the families and with the kids, it makes me so proud to see, as you mentioned, sometimes I say, wow, it means that something to them, you know.
That's right.
That's what I accredited, but I didn't think that it would mean to a point where, you know, they feel like this is their club, this is how they feel about one ball. So when I get that direct feedback from parents and they say parents will be calling me, putting me on loudspeaker, can you please tell our kids there's no one ball today? They don't believe us. Right? And I have to speak to them. So
That's crazy.
and that tells me like, wow, it means something. They were looking forward to it. Parents tell me they put their uniform in the morning. One ball session is like 4 p.m. in the afternoon. The kids already putting their uniform ready to come to one ball.
That's amazing.
So that's already telling me that they feeling some kind of connection to the brand or to what we're giving to them with the coaches. It's not me, obviously. There's a lot of people involved in one ball who makes them feel that way, makes them feel like they belong here, they're connected, and they listen to, and they have lots of fun. So that's, yeah.
Like I can't resist as a creative person to sort of say that there's so much eloquence in this brand. There's yourself and your own humility and your skill and your authenticity. Then there's the actual giving that you are doing, which is not only to the community but to children to see how they could go future, but also as a design outcome. It's such an eloquent design, and I think that's why people also love it, because it's so simple, so beautifully crafted, and looks so good compared to other brands that are out there. So from a competitive point of view, design and creativity and imagination, your imagination to create the name, which the Spirit gave you as an idea, and then now using designers, Red's team, to then create something which will have an incredible value. I know your values are different to the commercial values, but if someone's looking to attach this to sponsorship or to other things they're doing, that brand through design has sort of manifested itself as a classic that doesn't need any changing for decades.
Yeah.
I just want to throw another word in the conversation, which I know you feel very strongly about. And in my experience with brand, even if you've got a strong concept and a really strong story and a wonderful identity, and that's the word trust.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, today, with fake news and deep fake and AI and very complex world we live in, there's one word that's a little bit at risk. So again, when we were talking the other day, you talked about the fact of not only the brand of One Ball, but you personally have built this trust so that parents are happy. The kid gets up in the morning, puts his jumper on. How does trust work in the world of One Ball?
Yeah, very important. Obviously, trust is everything. I think, as you mentioned, behind every great brand, there has to be really good people behind it. It doesn't matter how good the logo is or how amazing your branding is. Eventually, if you are not good to people and you don't treat people the right way, the word will get out, and your reputation obviously is everything. And for me, that's everything for me, getting the parents to trust One Ball, because a lot of parents who come to One Ball and the kids who come to One Ball is, kids who don't want to go to soccer club. One, is too intimidating for them. They have to do a trial. And on top of that, there's the financial aspect of it. So when they come to One Ball, we make sure that, not only they trust our organization, but they trust the coaches as well. So having coaches, for example, who looks like them is very important. Coaches from different backgrounds. We have different type of coaches. It's not so any kids can feel like they're safe. They're safe with these coaches, and trust is the most important thing when it comes to, especially with working with young people, because we can see how parents feel if they send the kids to another club that he might not be playing because the coach favors another kid, and then the kid's not enjoying it. So I've seen a lot of stories like that with parents. They say after they become 12, 13, they don't want to play anymore, so they don't enjoy it anymore. So we create an environment where not only the kids trust us, but also the parents trust us, and they know we are authentic and genuine, and there's coaches there who care about the kids' development. and they can see that. There's a lot of parents and feedback. Again, I go back to data because I love data. We're always asking the parents, and if you go to the Google reviews, they're just parents talking about how amazing one ball coaches are. You know, the so much effort they put into the kids, because it's not easy coaching kids. You have to have energy. You have to have something about you where the kid can go home and say, you know, that coach made me feel like seen today. You know, and then he can't wait to come back. So the coaches who we select one ball represent that.
I think also the thing I'm enjoying listening to you, it's not like a daycare centre. It's not like you're minding the kids because the parents are doing something else. You're actually helping, you're engaged with the family, you're actually helping the kid grow in a different way, but it's a participation thing. The family's involved, it's all part of that family life. That's, I think, also the added benefit of this, that it's an activation of potential.
Yeah, absolutely. There's not many coaches also. We have to understand Australia, Melbourne's multiculturalism, but when it comes to football, you know, you don't see many African coaches, right? So the kids who are already or parents from Islamic background, for example, you know, when they see people who look like them, it's just normal to feel safe, right? And there's a lot of kids who I know for a fact that the parents will never take them to a soccer club or register them, first of all, if one ball didn't exist.
Wow.
Right, so the data we did, I think 2 years ago, 63% of the parents have never taken their kids to a soccer club or any other organization.
Wow.
Right, so if one ball didn't exist, they'll still continue. So
That's
I can
incredible.
see that, you know, that data shows me that one ball has a gap to fill in that market.
When we talk in Brand, we talk of what we call the blue ocean strategy. It's a seeing an opportunity, a gap in the market and a market in the gap.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you've done is you've seen that and personified that, and in that way you've opened up a whole new segment of the market, which is also and becomes accessible, and therefore, and with a brand like that, it's got the credibility, not only yourself but the way that's expressed, because you're not going to be there all the time in 24/7, right? But this brand speaks for you. And I think that's what you've done. And you may not have seen that, but from a strategic point of view, that's what you've created.
Yeah.
Let me just ask you another question about the gap, because this is coming back to basic strategy. I guess you've seen if you look at it from a positioning point of view, you found an opportunity, a gap in the market where a need was not being filled. You've done that with the brand of One Ball. A lot of people watching this podcast would be having questions like, do I need another brand? Can I do everything with the one brand? You know, if you look at mono brands, for example, Apple, Adidas, Nike, they have the one brand. You have the One Ball. But I know that you've been thinking about another brand.
Yeah.
Tell us why. Why do you need another brand? What is different about it than One Ball? And so this is going to be, I sense, another big step in your journey, because you've had a fascinating journey up to now. What's the next step look like? Can you tell us about that brand and why?
Yeah, sure. It comes to, I think, because One Ball is created as a non-for-profit, obviously, right? So, and the next brand that I'm working with is not a non-for-profit, it's for-profit, but eventually it's going to go and help One Ball's mission, right?
Right.
And it'll give me flexible to do things that I want to do, because when you're running a non-for-profit organization, you're very limited to do things outside of whatever the grant is given to you. So the next brand that I'm thinking of, or it's in the process, it's called Positive Kick.
Okay.
So One Ball's already using it in a way. So the Positive Kick brand, it comes with an idea of the power of affirmation. While I was playing, I used to use a lot of affirmation and visualization exercise. So we created this ball which has all affirmations around it, and kids get to learn about them while they're playing with the ball. And it's a powerful tool to get
Just to
kids.
cut in on there,
Yeah.
so everyone understands, actually the ball has within each of the segments of the ball,
Yeah.
it has an affirmation.
Yes.
So whichever way the ball falls,
Yes.
it has an affirmation
That's
on it.
right,
So
yeah.
it's multi-purpose affirmations.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I think it's such a fantastic idea
Yeah.
because the affirmation also makes the ball personal.
Absolutely.
So it's no longer just a global
Yeah, it's
icon.
not just
It becomes a personal icon because there'll be personal affirmations on there.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you talk about kids going home, they might take one affirmation. They might even talk to their family about it.
Yeah.
So that brand, the ball becomes the vehicle for the brand messages. The brand messages reinforce positive kick, which then goes into the home, sits perhaps around the kitchen table, and those affirmations expand. So it's such a beautiful story.
Yeah, it's a great concept, and it all comes back to how can I give back and through what I've learned through life by playing football, right? And what I've realized is, the mind is just as important training it as you're training to score a goal or to dribble. So a lot of clubs, a lot of coaches obviously don't have resources to work on the kids' mental toughness, if you like to call it. It's always about training your skills. So again, this ball represents a tool again to provide to kids rather than just them kicking a soccer ball. There's so many clubs, there's so many academies, they can go there, be talented soccer players, but what else can my brand add value to these kids? So when the parents come to One Ball and the kids are not just playing soccer, but we have a coloring booklet where filled with all affirmations that I've created. They color and the kids talk about the affirmations on the day, take it home. So we're giving them these tools that we think, and I think it's important, and it will help them to become a better version themselves. So this soccer ball that I'm lucky enough Red Design Group is designing is going to have elements where the kids can develop their mental resilience, and we'll have a QR code on the board that turns into an app where they can practice visualization exercises based on their position. So if I'm a striker, right, a night before I can visualize the game.
Yeah.
Right. And getting to really be in the game, see them scoring a goal. If I'm a goalkeeper, see myself saving and really being there in the game. So when they go to the game already, they already picture that. So visualization, obviously, it's very important. And a lot of great athletes use that. So it's, for me, this is another way of me giving back to them and say, you know what, there's these tools. And then if we can add 1% to their learning, then it's a win for us.
I think on that, sorry, Roy, I could say that on that this is also regarding brand being relevant. So you're taking core values that are perhaps inscribed in, say, the Bible, on tablets, or monasteries and things like that, and human interface, but you're converting that into something which is living, breathing, and accessible to a kid who's 15 or 14 years old. So you put it into that way, and then also made it so accessible through technology and brand thinking that, again, it continually expands.
Yeah.
That one ball on the ground is now talking to fans, to crowds, to people of the community, and all to do with the thinking that you have about your brand and what you want to contribute to the world in general, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you now to help a different community. So you've done a lot for your family and your country, your original birth country, and Australia, and kids generally, and the game of soccer. Now out there, we've got an audience watching and listening to this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they're doing it because they want to learn something about brand and how it might be better for them and might be successful or help their business success. You've been successful in a non-for-profit sense. You're moving into a commercial branding opportunity. So just for a couple of minutes, if you're talking straight to the audience, by the way, is mostly businesses.
Yeah. Okay.
They could be young entrepreneurs, startups. They could be sporting groups. They could be charities. Who knows? What's your advice to somebody out there that woke up this morning with the idea that I got a problem with my brand, I don't know what to do? Give us a couple of points that you think, as a branding guy, not as a soccer guy anymore, what would you tell the audience to do?
I would definitely, I would say, for me, is to stay consistent, and stick to your values. Start small, and expect a lot of challenges.
Yep.
A lot of challenges, but keep going, because
Yep.
that's one thing that made me keep progressing to the next step for the last 7 years. I could have
Yep.
stopped in 1 year. Oh, I don't like this logo. There's only like 5 kids at the session, but I had already visioned one ball, being like across Melbourne, in Ethiopia. So my goal is that. So how can I get to that step, and how can I find people can help me? So if, there's times where obviously I was stuck and I wasn't sure exactly if the brand's going to work or not, but staying consistent and staying true to your values, that's something that I would say. Because if you love it enough, I loved it enough for me to find the right people. If I don't know the answer to it, I have to. So, for example, Red Design Group, I had to go to Darren and call him and say, you need to help me, So
Yeah.
don't be scared to reach out. If you believe it and you think it's going to be, you have to believe in it before other people believe in it.
I think on that, as a segue from that, I think also what this has proved to be is that a designer and a creative mind, quality work, can take your vision, which is so authentic, and transfer it into something which you probably didn't believe you could get until you talk to a professional designer and creative person.
Yeah.
You could go to, you could go down and pull something off Google or something, or you could go to other easy things off the platform, computer platform. But here you've got the hand of a designer and the mind of a designer and the craftsmanship to create something which is greater than you even thought potentially was possible, as you just mentioned before.
Yeah,
It's kind of interesting that you met the designer on a soccer field, but that's another
Yeah,
story.
exactly, yeah.
So, the other part of this podcast is because it's all about helping people to get success. Now, normally we wouldn't do this in a podcast because it's all about maybe interviewing a business that's making profit for themselves, putting it in their back pocket. How can this podcast, how can Richard and I and the audience, for that matter, how can we help you? How can we help One Ball? How can we help Positive Kick?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said, there's so many different ways to get involved with One Ball. If you're listening in and you think that you like what we're doing and you match our values, then you can always go look at our website, and there is a lot of tools there. Whether if you want to sponsor, become a sponsor, you can donate through using the link on the website, or reach out to us, and we can have a conversation in terms of what ways you can get involved being a sponsor. If you're a coach out there or love football, you have the passion to be a mentor and coach young kids, then you can always reach out to us again on the website and become a volunteer. And we also have a registration form on our website. If parents are listening to this and they want the kids to get involved, we have 3 locations in Melbourne at the moment. We want to expand and get into.
What would those 3 locations be?
So Cranbourne, Port Melbourne, and Maribyrnong, and we also have about 5 or 6 school programs. So if parents are in those areas and they want their kids to be involved, they can get in touch with us, and we'll be more than happy to have them.
And we can also buy some of your merchandise.
Yes, I bought one here for you actually. I'm not sure if it's your size or you guys have to do paper, scissors, rock.
Well, you can see we're both great sportsmen. You can see that.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So an Adidas hoodie.
Two famous brands there.
Yeah.
Right?
Looks good.
Yeah. So this is you now is partnering with Adidas.
Yeah. So Ultra Football, who are our sponsors, and they obviously partner with Adidas. So
that's for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Could I just ask one question? Roy's sort of summed up it pretty well, but what would you whisper in your ear now, as you're and your younger self, about your journey that you've been on? What was the one thing you've learned that you would say to yourself, I might reconsider, or I might do something different, or this is the most valuable lesson I've learned, as you're talking back to yourself when you started.
When I was younger.
If you're as you are now, and you're whispering in your younger ear of your journey ahead, what's the one thing that you feel's been critical to your journey?
I would say keep going, don't give up. Really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Resilience.
Resilience. Absolutely. There's so many times. I had a lot of injuries, a lot of people who didn't want me to be successful in terms of soccer. But I just keep going, and I told myself then to keep going as well. But I think I could have done a little bit more in terms of whether it's training more harder or surrounding myself with the right people, making better decisions. We all make bad decisions when we were younger, but I think, I would tell myself, keep going, don't give up.
So you kick those, that positive kick and those affirmations. You could do that for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had that ball back then. That would have definitely strengthened it. Yeah.
Well, look, it's been a fascinating chat today. Been great to hear you sharing that story. Brand has played a big part of it, but you're the core of it, mate. In sport, there are many celebrity brands, many soccer players that are world famous, that are very, very wealthy, and it's all about them.
Yeah.
What I love about your story is not about you. You're actually the inspiration behind it, but you built a brand that's not the Kamal brand. You built other brands.
Yeah.
And that sort of sense of authenticity helps the brand. I think there's so many lessons in there, Richard, today.
Yeah.
For anybody listening or watching Brandr today, this is quite different than most of our recordings, which are probably more focused on business. But Kamal, we want to thank you very much for being part of the program today. Wish you a huge amount of success. Your journey is probably only just starting.
Yeah.
And hopefully the audience out there, that you've picked up on some of the core principles of brand, what you've heard today from Kamal. And if you're feeling a little bit like Kamal, a bit frustrated and things are not going your way, there's some great advice we've heard from our friend today. So thanks so much for being part of podcast today. Thanks for being part of Brandr, and we'll see you at the very next episode. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, Kamal.
Thank you, guys.
See
really
you next
appreciate
time.
it. Thank you.
Kamal. Thank you.